Hello and welcome to episode 22 of Lost in Chronologically Lost, where this time the plot actually starts for the show.
Yeah, we saw the numbers.
We finally saw the numbers.
Yeah.
But
Not what they mean. I don't know if I'll ever know what they mean.
you'll know
but
what they
exist.
mean eventually. But where do we begin with this one?
Well, I was gonna say we begin on a low point, but that's because I forgot the scene that came even before that, which was Ben pulling the whole inviting Juliet for a dinner party, but then it's actually just the two of them, which is... Yeah, that seems like how Ben would try to get with Juliet.
Yeah, and they mentioned that she's been helping the kids they took from the plane.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, they keep asking about their mother, and Ben's like, oh, they'll just stop asking eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super healthy.
And there's a line like, who are we to question who's on the list or not, which makes me start to think, like, does the list come from, like, Richard or Jacob? Like, who exactly is deciding who they need to take? Because I would think that Ben would be deciding.
Yeah, and then, Juliet asks about Goodwin, and Ben makes it out to be like, oh, Goodwin's trying to make a case for this woman, Anna, and, he's probably lying, but I'm like, I don't know, he did seem to like Anna, maybe he would try to make a case for her.
I could totally see, I think he would want her. I mean, she's clearly, competent, which I feel like is the general thing they want, but then at the same time, too late.
So, next we get... Okay, so this is a really weird scene, because... So, this whole scene here is from one of those webisodes in between...
I thought so.
Seasons 3
and 4. I
and
could kind of tell.
Except, let me tell you,
lower...
by season 3, season 4, there is absolutely zero Son and Michael stuff. So, I don't know why they would choose to make this a thing where...
Yeah.
They, almost kiss and everything.
Yeah, it feels weird because, they almost kiss, and she says that, she changed her mind because she was afraid, and that's sad to me, because I thought she changed her mind because she still loved Jin, but then it's oh shit.
Yeah, it really seemed like, it was the whole flower thing that reminded her, and...
Yeah. And she's acting like it's her punishment that she's on the island, but... I'm just glad they didn't kiss. And also, she was trying to bury her fake ID, and I'm like, she was not burying that deep enough. That would just, emerge on the ground in the rain. You have to put that way deeper.
Yeah. Then we get to the beginning of the actual episode, which is, Jin, he sees Sun in a bathing suit and yells at her and tries to cover her up and everything.
Which is, so this is a Jin and Sun flashback. I'm gonna guess it's the one where we see Jin coming home covered in blood, but we don't get the real context.
Well, no, we already did that one.
Okay, well then... we just still...
This is actually the one where we get the context.
Oh! Oh, see... Huh. That's good then. I thought that, them actually showing that Jin wasn't a bad person would only come in, a couple seasons or something.
No,
I thought they were...
half of season 1.
Huh, that's nice then. Because... that changes a lot of what I was going to say, because I was just thinking, they're doing so much portraying Jin as, I don't know, someone who just, we've talked about it, they make him seem abusive, they make him seem controlling, and it's and I don't want to excuse, when I say Jin is a good boy, I don't want to excuse any of his behaviors right now, trying to make Sun cover up. They're just, it felt like there's such a difference in how they portray him later on and how they portray him now.
Yeah, so the full flashback that we saw, we see Jin actually asking permission to marry Sun. We see the scene where Jin puts off their honeymoon so he can go work. We see him go, the whole thing with the government guy where he intimidates him and then gets told to go kill him and then just beats him up. Him actually, breaking down, sort of crying a bit after he... comes home from doing that, and then him visiting his dad.
Damn, that's nice. That makes sense that we'd get, his resolution with his fisherman dad now, because, we get so much of him fishing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Michael goes to try and break up the argument, but Sun slaps him.
Yeah. which is, the whole her way of getting it to stop. Jin can tell that something's going on with Sun and Michael.
So, Sun, she tells Michael that she's sorry, but she's like, I did it to protect you from Jin because,
Yes. So she says, you don't know what Jin is capable of. And that's why I thought this was the one where we saw him all bloody, but I guess this is like to set up later in the episode that actually, no, that's not what he's like.
Exactly, yeah. So we see Jin on the golf course is
yes,
angrily
which we
hitting
get
rocks.
Yeah, and we get something like that later really well.
Oh, that's... Okay, well...
We'll get there. We'll get there, but that's a high point. I forgot to say it at the start, but I thought these were great episodes.
Oh, same. This is when the season 1 plot really kicks in.
So then we get Saeed and Shannon flirting because that is a thing that's happening, and she's all like, maybe we should get some rope and spend a Saturday night alone together. And Saeed smiles, so yeah, that's clearly happening.
Good for them.
Michael is trying to get Walt excited about going back to New York City, which Walt does not care that much about, which I guess I could have seen like the reveal at the end coming. This is definitely setting that up, but I was surprised by it.
Yeah. They also mentioned that so there's only room for 4 on the boat. So obviously Michael and Walt.
Yeah. And I mean, there should be room for more, but I'm guessing it's a buoyancy thing.
Yeah, you don't want to make it too heavy, and all the supplies you'll bring and everything. And Sawyer got a spot by trading for supplies, which is like, of course he did.
Just rope to tie it together. Now we get Kate kind of comforting Sun, trying to convince her to leave Jin, and it's just like, they're playing this like such a textbook abusive situation where she's like, there's the things she says where it's like, right now how it's being portrayed, that is true, but we know there's more nuance, though we're, again, not condoning how Jin currently acts, and we know that it's Sun's fault that he had to become a gangster, and Sun also cheated.
Then they
honestly,
on fire.
I have a question. Wait, I have a question. Like, when you first watched, like, how did you feel about them at this point?
Oh, I hated Jin originally. Like,
and it's like, I would totally hate him too. It's like, it's just the way they're showing him.
He gets better, so this is like the turning point for his character, because you finally get his side of the flashbacks. Yeah.
So, the raft's on fire, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna suspect Jin, but it's not gonna be him. But my immediate thought was, okay, it's not Jin, but they do, like, play it as kind of maybe being him, considering he has the burns. Yeah, Michael gets pissed.
I would be too. Even if I wasn't on that boat, I'd be pissed too. I'm like, that was how they were gonna...
Yeah, they were supposed to get help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an irony here that Sawyer is, like, pissed off of this. He really wanted to get out. When, like, some episodes ago, they were like, ooh, Sawyer is bad because he wants us to stay here. He's happy here because he's like the rich man almost. And
they'll elaborate on this more. Don't worry.
Okay. I mean, I think that when they were saying about Sawyer, they had the wrong read. I just think it's like ironic that now he's this pissed about not getting to leave, considering how they portrayed it before.
So Saeed talks to Boone about Shannon and everything. And Boone says that Shannon's just using him, just like she uses everyone.
Which, like, I'm just happy Boone is at least over her enough to not be like, don't do this. How dare you? But he's still, like, clearly not completely over her.
Yeah, especially because
the thing is,
she asked him, oh, hey, can you help me with this thing with my shelter? And he's like, she's just using me to build a shelter. Which
is, like, I'm surprised she took Saeed back at the end after he was just... Like, it's one thing that Boone said that, and she immediately knew it was Boone, but also, like, Saeed believing Boone. Because the thing is, I feel like Boone is, like, kind of right in that I think that it doesn't seem like Boone is just completely wrong about how she is, but it is also like, you gotta give someone a chance. I think Saeed was wrong to just try to cut it off when it's like, no, like, give her a chance, see if she's changed, just, be careful.
Right, especially Shannon yelling at Locke about her issues, and Locke just, doesn't care at all.
So, between that, there is Sawyer catching Jin, which also makes me think...
kicking him in the face, too.
Yeah. But anyway, then, we get Shannon talking to Locke, and I'm just thinking, like, Locke, don't give her drugs.
Nah, he just gives a magical speech. instead.
I might have thought Locke don't give them drugs more than once during these episodes. But yeah, he's like, stop caring about what Boone thinks, when what her caring what Boone thinks is not entirely the issue. Saeed caring what Boone thinks is kind of the issue here. But, well, they move past Boone. That's good for them.
Yeah, so they bring Jin to the beach and start a whole argument, and
yeah,
Michael
they're pissed.
starts...
And I really like this plot as, like, the thing to finally force Sun to reveal she speaks English.
It's finally out there.
And they're even, like, it's even like Hurley... No, not Hurley. Hurley was trying to stop Michael from going in, but Michael is just trying to fight Jin, and even Saeed is saying something about, like, just let them fight, you know? Like, that's how they're going to resolve this, a fist fight.
Anyway, Sun explains that Jin burned his hands from trying to put out the fire, not from starting it. And then Locke is like, it doesn't even matter if he actually hates you, because why would he burn the raft? That's...
Yeah, it's like, the whole time, it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and he
also, we get when Sun reveals she speaks English, we get the textbook Hurley audience insert line of he's just like, didn't see that coming. Locke is just like, the others are fucking here. No shit, we have literal enemies who don't want us to get away from the island. So, like, why the hell would we suspect Jin?
Yeah, even though he knows who did it, and it's not the others.
But I mean, it's like, it's the others, not the group, but everyone else should have considered that they have literal enemies on the island. Like,
yeah,
they were just there was just the tensions rising. They all just wanted to be mad. Needed someone easy to blame.
Yeah. So then Jin is just giving Sun the silent treatment, and eventually she kind of yells at him about everything she was going to do, but she says it in English.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they would do that for the sense of the drama for the scene, but it's also like, well, you're not accomplishing anything. Yeah. And he does kind of like turn around, which makes you think, like, okay, did he kind of get the feeling from how she was shouting? But at the same time, like, you're speaking English there.
Yeah, next we get, this is part of the whole Nikki Paulo flashback thing.
Yeah, I don't care about how they feel about there being guns. That does not matter.
Right, but what's important is that they find the pond sort of area.
Yeah.
And Paulo asks if they'd still be together if she did need him to get the bag. And he finds it and doesn't tell her, so he has it.
Yeah, fucked up. And it's kind of dumb of her because she just like turns around and walks away, and then he immediately dives back down.
Yeah, that was weird, but it's like, I guess they just needed the scene to be over.
Yeah, it was just the way of structuring the scene for the dramatic end. Then we get a romantic scene with Saeed and Shannon, and there's this whole like everyone gets a new life on the island thing. It's a little forced to me, but she's not wrong.
Yeah, we have Waltz playing backgammon. Says Hurley now owes him $83,000.
Yeah, and Locke is just like, why'd you do it? And he won't tell, which is nice. And Locke, see, it's funny because, like, Locke of all people doesn't care that they don't have a way off because he thinks they're supposed to be on the island.
Well, I just want to say before that, Walt asks Locke about his dad and asks if he's cool, and Locke is like, no, he's not.
Yeah, I felt like we were getting the setup, and I think we got one of the Locke backstories I was waiting for later.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're setting that up that his dad was a piece of shit. And then, yeah, Walt, he's happy here. He has the child mindset, and there's the angle that he's sick of moving. Which is, like, kind of true, but also, like, this isn't moving, this is escaping.
But then we also see Jin is now helping to build the new raft.
Which, that's really nice. Like, I just like that. It kind of, they're brought together in the worst way, but at least they're not wasting it. And they're kind of, like, they're not, we see later, they're clearly not best friends, they yell at each other, but it's kind of, like, satisfying to see that sort of rift closed.
Yeah.
Because now Sun can't come between them, because Jin doesn't care about Sun.
Yeah, that's true. And then we get a music montage
Oh
where
my
his
God.
CD player
When-
finally dies.
My notes literally say, "Oh fuck, Hurley put the headphones on. Oh no." But yes, thank God it dies. And also, the only thing of note during that montage is that we get the symbolic thing of Sun throwing the blanket away and walking around in her bikini because now she's free, but alone. And also, the camera just has to emphasize her body.
Of course. So then we see Hurley and Jin working on the raft, and they want to get a battery from Rousseau, but Saeed's like, no, I'm not going to tell you where she is because that's crazy.
It's a terrible idea. And Hurley sees the numbers on the notes, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah. This is, and so I guess my question is, which parts of the Hurley backstory are this? Because there was a lot, and it seems like we didn't just get one section, we got like bits and pieces throughout.
So we got...
Wait, sorry, I have one thing I need to call before you tell me that it's true. And that's that we got that brief moment of him on the beach and rap music starts playing for like 15 seconds.
Yeah, that was a
And
bleed
it's so
in.
weird, and I was like, okay, that, at first I was confused, then I realized that was definitely cutting to when the music was playing and they were in a Hummer and they were going to the house that was on fire and then he got falsely arrested.
Yeah.
But other than that, what were the backstories?
They do better with keeping them separate later. So yeah, it's him when he originally wins the lottery, just watching the TV, seeing the one where he's doing the interview and his grandfather has a heart attack and dies. Again, the one with the house on fire and the false arrest. The one where he's talking to his accountant about everything. When he visits Leonard and Leonard tells him the numbers are cursed. And then when he goes to Australia and meets that woman.
Yeah, I figured it had to have the woman because that's the whole... He's not being believed, and that's why it's going to be so satisfying for Danielle to believe him and agree with him. But
Yeah.
that makes sense as the backstory, because you got to set up that he's rich, you got to set up the bad luck. But I almost thought, I would have expected to see some more of the earlier stuff when he was in the mental hospital, just because, I feel like it could have used some of the setup of, how he knew the numbers instead of just starting with, him using them for the lottery.
Yeah.
That almost feels... Because, that just, I feel like if you just showed it using the lottery, that I would have thought, oh, did he just randomly pick those when it's supposed to be no. He used the numbers that he was already seeing everywhere.
Well, yeah, but it does set up that, he was in a mental ward with this dude,
Yeah.
because he goes to talk to Leonard.
Yeah, that is there.
Yeah, so Hurley
Hurley is-
steals the
yeah.
papers from...
Yeah, after talking to Saeed about it in the night.
Yeah, and then he acts just so suspicious with Charlie.
Yeah. And Locke is also getting Claire to help with something, but then we get, Saeed being, angry at Jack for making Hurley do his dirty work, and Jack is like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, so they're gonna go after him, and Shannon's, saying that she's worried about Saeed.
Of course she is.
Mm-hmm.
And we get some Sawyer where I think he was reading A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, was he? I didn't notice.
I think I saw the word wrinkle at least. I saw it on the cover, but he's annoyed at the noise while, Michael is arguing with Jin about how they were tying the bamboo, and we get some Sun being sad that Jin will never speak to her again.
So Hurley finds a boar strung up in one of the traps.
Yeah.
But then, of course, hits another trap, but is able to dodge it in time. So
Yeah, and they're it's a pressure thing, and because the whole time I'm thinking Hurley, you're gonna get caught in a trap because you're not gonna be ready for it. That's why you shouldn't go alone. And they catch up with him, and he is he just says he could dodge, and he does it.
yeah, suddenly they see the wire just goes right into the ground. So okay, that goes nowhere. They find this precarious rope bridge thing.
Only one side of the ropes are there.
Yeah.
And while both Hurley and Charlie go over it, there's this in one of the camera angles they use, just one part of the rope looks like it's a thread, it is about to snap, and I'm just oh my god, that is Heights aren't my worst fear, but I don't like them.
So, with Locke and Claire building this, mysterious thing, it's just that Locke he just made glue.
Yeah, and see, this is the next time I was thinking, Locke, don't give her drugs. She is pregnant. Do not give her drugs.
And then Jack steps on a tripwire that blows up Rousseau's old camp.
Yeah. Great way to end an episode, with explosions.
Yeah, because she has already left there because I discovered her location.
Yeah, which, she is that paranoid.
Yeah,
I was worried for a moment that they accidentally blew up her house, but no, she was already gone. But Charlie is, we have this whole arc of Charlie wanting to know what Hurley's deal is, and Hurley is saying he's not crazy, and Hurley is finally about to explain when they start getting shot at.
Yeah. Rousseau holds him up, and he asks her about the numbers, and she says she doesn't know. Yeah. And Hurley goes on this whole rant that became, of course, the end part of the rant of now I want some freaking answers. That became a meme within the community every time they wouldn't reveal something.
I just like how he said the monster could be a pissed off giraffe.
Oh, that would be amazing, honestly.
Because of course, it's just so funny that no one ever gets a good look at it, so it could be a giraffe.
Well, Locke got a good look at it, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess.
Locke knows what it is.
Locke doesn't tell people shit.
Exactly. Rousseau says that they came to the island because they heard the numbers from the broadcast station. Which, it's this whole thing, it's just being broadcast by Dharma because... So,
anyway,
finally, she agrees. And she's like, the numbers are cursed. And Hurley is so happy someone finally agrees with him.
And he just, hugs her. And I like that they have this connection here where she's not even stay back, I'm going to shoot you. They just hug. They actually know they can trust each other. And I just really wanted Hurley to explain more. I wanted him to be more explicit to her. I used them for the lottery, and then bad stuff happened. A meteor hit my restaurant. That's how I know it's cursed. But I get why they're not specific, because they don't want to be redundant with the flashbacks. When you're watching it normally, you just got that information with the flashbacks, so you don't need the characters to talk about it. But for me, it's been so long that I want to see the characters talk about it.
Yeah, so Saeed finally gets back his now damaged picture of Nadia.
Yeah, that had to go somewhere.
Yeah, Hurley...
And they're thinking, we gotta find Hurley. Charlie gets back and is I lost him. And Hurley's right there and has the battery.
Yeah, so they got that.
So we see the raft, the new raft is being built, which, I should mention, you asked me, last episode, what I thought would happen with the raft. I did not predict it getting burnt, so I was thinking, so the raft plot just doesn't go anywhere. But no, they still get a new one, so it's still going to go somewhere.
Yeah, and then Claire says that she hasn't thought of a name for the baby, and she eventually confides in Locke she was going to give him away, and that it's also her birthday today, so good for her.
Yeah.
And then he reveals that they built a crib.
Okay, so the camera doesn't directly show us what it is, but once she's I give up, what is it? It's really obviously a cradle. As soon as I got a good look at it, no shit, that's a cradle. How could you not tell?
Yeah. And, he says it's her birthday present, so that's nice.
And Charlie is asking Hurley about what the deal is. And Hurley is saying he thinks the plane crash was his fault, which, no, it was Desmond's.
Yep. In a more roundabout way, it was Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
And, Charlie says, hey, I was literally, taking heroin as the plane was crashing, so all our problems aren't because of your curse or whatever.
Yeah, but Hurley tells the truth, and Charlie just does not believe him.
Yeah,
that hurts.
Yeah, you're worth $150 million is kind of a hard thing. And then this was the shot that got everybody who was watching the show to just preen their pants. Which is that the numbers are on the side of the hatch. And it's just so funny because you've seen the explanation for why they're there, and it's literally just the serial number
it's just like it's one of the things that's like. It's just like one of the things like, oh, they're just gonna pop up places. Like there are some sources of the numbers where there's the whole continuity of like, oh, there was a transmission and these people heard it and then they told it to this guy who's then repeating them in a mental hospital. And sometimes it's like, no, they just pop up places because that's what they do. And this is one of those where it just happened to be the serial number because this universe is like that.
So, yeah, everyone was just instant like, oh my god, the numbers, they're on the thing. What did they mean?
It seems like,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
that seems like it was one of the big factors in like everyone getting so addicted to this show.
Yeah, even though, of course, it has, like, the most normal explanation of all time for why those numbers are there.
Yeah.
Then we get another scene of Juliet and Ben, where she's like, oh, there's this guy, Jack, he can help with your tumor.
Yeah,
and he's
she
like,
wants Jack.
He's like, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to traumatize you today,
also,
so let's go.
I just want to mention, like, what was I going to say? So didn't we know from the time travel thing that, like, that's going to happen? They're going to, like, torture someone or something to force Jack to operate on him. So like that's coming.
Yeah, that is coming.
For a while, when they first mentioned that, I was like, "What the hell is the context gonna be?" Like, no, yeah, I pretty much get how it's gonna go and why that's necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ben is taking her to Goodwin's body, and he doesn't even tell her. It's one of those, in a TV show, where it's like. They say, oh, we have to go somewhere, and then they cut to being there, and they're finally explaining it. And it's like, why didn't you just explain it on the way? But it's because it's a TV show, so they're going to do it dramatically. But this is explained by the fact that Ben is just being a dick.
Oh, yeah. And she says, yeah, why did you bring me out here? And he goes, oh, what, you mean instead of his wife? Like,
yeah, which is like, yeah, but also, why would you bring anyone out there at all? You could just say he was found dead. You did this to hurt her.
Juliet,
and, at the same time, like, it sucks for Juliet, it sucks for Goodwin, but Goodwin did kind of earn it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you Goodwin was a good person.
Juliet said that Ben wanted this to happen, which he absolutely did. And then he does the whole thing where he says, you're mine, which is like, ugh.
Which is like, ugh. And it's like, the juxtaposition of him being like, you're mine, and then, like, take as much time as you need, which is like, yeah, you're saying that out of obligation, not to be nice. The you're mine is how you really feel.
So now we're going to cut to Locke and Boone, who are trying to break open the hatch with the trebuchet, and fail.
Which Boone thinks it's a catapult, which is, very inaccurate.
Yeah. And this whole failure is causing Locke's legs to not work so well.
Yeah, which is really arbitrary.
Yeah, like, it's very arbitrary and I don't understand it.
It's the kind of thing I don't like, where it's just what the plot needs is whether his legs work. Yeah. But so, yeah, it's not even cracked. I thought it would at least be cracked, but damn, man, some shrapnel gets in Locke's leg, and he doesn't feel it. And I thought there would be a whole thing where they have to go back to Jack and, like, explain how he got injured when they haven't told people of the hatch, but instead it's like, he just ties a rag around it and he starts poking himself with a safety pin. And he's not talking, so I'm like, shit, does he feel it, or is this implying he doesn't feel it? But then once he, like, puts the fire on his foot, it's like, oh shit, he has lost feeling.
Yeah, so what do you think the flashbacks were for this section here?
I think that this was not him getting paralyzed. I think this was his dad stealing his kidney.
Yeah, right, it was kidney stealing.
There were a few things that tied together here. First of all, when we first saw that flashback, there's the part where he gets hit by a car. And you told me at the time they were like building up tension, like, oh, is this where he gets paralyzed? You told me that later, I think, but
yeah.
So I knew that
I told you that once he got paralyzed.
Yeah, so I knew that like that had to come first, and also we saw bits of his mother in his dream, so it would be the one where she was there, and yeah, I just felt like they weren't going to reveal why he's paralyzed yet, but they were. I mean, they had to start the story with his dad before they could continue it later. They were setting up the stuff with his dad, with Walt asking about it.
Right. And of course, Locke, after this failure with the trebuchet and legs and everything, he brings up, the island will tell us what to do, which is like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And we have this funny sort of plot line going here with Sawyer, where he's having some headaches.
and he is asking Sun which plant is right, and it's still weird to me that, like, it's still just weird to me that she is, like, the expert on all these natural medicines, just because, like, she was a rich girl. I don't see it. But we get Kate asking Jack about, to help Sawyer, and the whole plot line has some undertones of, like, oh, are the two love rivals going to help each other? And Kate cares about both of them. And it honestly works because this one was funny.
Yeah. So then we get like this weird dream sequence with Locke where, Boone is kind of fed up with trying to work.
Which is weird because then outside the dream, Boone is not fed up yet.
Yeah. We get inside the dream. We get another "Don't tell me what I can't do" when Boone says he can't open it.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. So Locke sees the Yemi's plane crash, right? And then he sees Boone all bloodied up. So here's my thing. And obviously this is not what was intended because this is season 1 and I'm going to be pulling stuff from season 5 here. But Locke went time traveling. So I'm like, he did actually see Yemi's plane crash in the past.
Yeah.
It's just his future, and obviously Boone getting bloody happens in like his immediate future here.
So is it like a Magic Island dream, or is it like a seeing his own future dream?
I think it's a combination of both. Like the island is mixing up some memories that go into his dream. So then Jack goes to try and help Sawyer, but of course Sawyer's being all snappy until Jack gets him all, makes him start worrying it might be a tumor.
Yeah, I love the dialogue, just the exchange. Like Sawyer saying, "It's not like it's a tumor," and Jack says, "What makes you think it's a tumor?" And Sawyer says, "I don't," and Jack is like, "Great, okay then," which is just like Jack is doing exactly as much as he is obligated to as a doctor, and nothing more.
You'll love to see it.
So then he does ask him, like, oh, there's no phantom smells, so probably not a tumor. But then Sawyer is like, he doesn't want to do tests because he is unnecessarily being a bitch about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, you have a perfectly good doctor who likes helping people, but you reject the help for no gain of your own.
Then Locke and Boone are walking through the jungle, and Locke's legs start to just completely give out.
Yeah.
And they find a drug smuggler, which they're like, okay, why is there a Nigerian priest who's not really a priest on this island?
Which we know why.
Yeah.
Also, something occurred to me. So, Locke can walk when he's on the island.
Yes.
And I know there will be, far in the future, there will be a plot line where Locke is trying to get people to come back to the island, back in the regular world.
Yes.
Is he going to be able to walk then? But there's also the fact that in the well, he injured his leg pretty badly. So I almost feel like during that plotline, Locke is going to be in a wheelchair again.
Yeah, you kind of figured it out, but like he's in a wheelchair because he has broken his leg very badly.
Yeah.
From falling down
Where
a well.
It's like, so it's not like literally once he's gone from the island, the magic stops working, but it's kind of like, it's
symbolically not working.
Yeah, symbolically, when he's off the island, he has to be in a wheelchair. Also, there was a centipede crawling out of the fake priest's eye, which makes me uncomfortable. And luckily, the gun had no bullets. We don't need more of that to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Kate forces Sawyer to go see Jack, and Jack has clearly already figured out what's wrong with him, but is toying with him.
But he goes... So at first, he's like, ever had sex with a prostitute? And I'm just like, whoa, Jack. If you mean does he have any STDs, that is a inappropriate way to ask that.
No, that was specifically why.
Then I get that he is just fucking with Sawyer.
Yeah.
And pissing him off. Yeah. And then it's like, he just needs glasses because his eyes are having trouble focusing and that's causing his brain strain. That makes a lot of sense.
So Locke's legs start completely failing, and he tells Boone that back in the real world he was paralyzed. So that's one person who knows.
And we're not going to find out how for a while.
Yeah. And we get Boone explaining about Teresa because Locke heard that in the dream.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It just shows that the dream was magic.
Yeah,
and... But then Locke is laughing and he sees the plane.
Yeah, they find the plane.
We get Jack finally telling Sawyer that it's just that he's farsighted, and none of the pairs of glasses work, so we get Saeed forging two together, which is like, I didn't think that was a thing you could do.
Yeah, and it looks hilariously bad, which I love.
Oh yeah, it looks horrible. It's right after Sawyer is like complaining about which ones don't look like his style, and it looks so bad.
Right. Then we have Boone climbs up to the plane, and finds the heroin statues.
Yeah.
And then Boone tries the radio, which we get a split screen with the tail section.
Yeah, and I almost dislike that we got this split screen, because it meant I knew exactly what was going to happen when I think the whole, like, no, we're the survivors. I mean, I would have immediately known who the other survivors were, but it would have been cool just to experience the scene like that. But instead, I just see Bernard saying it on the other side.
Yeah, people when it first aired, they were conflicted for a long time because the subtitles that came out with this episode were actually wrong. And the subtitle said that the voice on the radio said, there are no survivors of Flight 815. But he actually says, no, we're the survivors of...
And it's like, of course... You get the little... It's like every time there seems like there's progress, then it's only ends up being a tiny amount. They get a radio, they can connect to someone, but no, they don't connect to the outside world. They just connect to other survivors. But you do get the reveal that there are other survivors.
Yeah, and, well, Anna turns it off and says, no, it's the others. They're just messing with us.
Yeah, which, I mean, I get the paranoia, but also you're going to look so dumb when it turns out you're wrong.
Yeah, so then the plane falls and Boone gets super injured. But I just want to say something, right? So, you saw with Nikki and Paulo, when they discovered this area, right?
Yeah.
So you remember that it was a whole sort of hatch area, and then above that was the plane, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now that hatch is covered by the plane.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it fell right on top of it.
And they just didn't see it before that?
Correct.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's fucking meme.
Yeah.
And
so then
we see Anna. She finally breaks down crying.
First, Locke is able to walk to carry Boone back, which I like. It's like, see, I was worried for a second, like, shit, that's a bad way to get injured. Is Boone gonna die? But then I'm like, okay, if Locke is walking to carry him back, then Boone's gonna live because Locke being able to walk for him has to mean something.
Right.
But then, yeah, Annalise is crying.
Yeah, she's crying, and Echo finally speaks to her and says it will be okay.
Yeah.
And
Echo's a good dude.
Yeah, it reveals it was a 40-day silence. And yeah, she says, you waited 40 days to talk, and he says, well, you waited 40 days to cry. So
yeah.
It's like,
and then we get the best part.
Yeah, this is the best webisode of all time.
Oh my god, I love this. And I knew immediately it was a webisode because it put the title. It had the title right there, so I knew it was a webisode, and goddamn, it was amazing.
So good.
Like, you know why it was amazing? Because we barely get to see inside Jin's head. We get him almost as a plot device of a force to affect Sun and someone for Michael to fight, and we see him even when he's not like that. We see him being very stoic and everything. We don't get how Jin feels when he is gonna be feeling so much. And it goes into the angle especially of how, like, he has nobody he can communicate. And right now, even though it's his choice, he doesn't even have Sun. He is so alone here. And I'm so glad we just get this opportunity to see inside his head and how he is feeling.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. Especially it's just that he's still getting bothered by the one handcuff he has on.
Yeah, he screams about he can't get the ball in the hole, he doesn't want to be pitied, he wants one thing to go right, he wants Hurley to shut the fuck up, he hates the island, no one understands him, and the thing that hit me was when he said he just wants to be happy.
Yeah, this is my favorite webisode ever. It's so good.
He screams about who invented golf, he wants the handcuff off,
yeah.
And he doesn't want them to pity him, but really, he just wants the ball to go in the hole.
Yeah. And then we have Locke. He brings Boone to Jack and says, "Oh yeah, he fell off a cliff." And then just leaves.
Yeah, which is I wonder where he is going. And like Jack wants to know exactly what happened. I assume to help assess the injuries. Buck is not helping.
Yeah, I mean, those are two very different injuries that happened to Boone. So, just what do you think is immediately going to happen next? If you have any more thoughts on how the raft is going to go or anything,
I don't know. It looks like they're almost ready with it, but my predictions of where the raft could go are pretty much the same as last time. In that, I don't really have any strong ideas.
Right. How do you think this whole thing with Boone and Locke is going to affect with the other survivors?
I think that when Boone is better, he might end up telling the truth about the hatch, or at least the plane. But I think he's going to start revealing things. And Locke, I don't even know. Maybe he'll go to the hatch, but I'm honestly not sure what he wants to do right now.
Okay, well, anything else to say for these set of episodes?
I mean, they were great episodes.
They were. This is where the plot really kicks in.
Yeah, and just it was great plot and, like, every character struggle in every, like we got a Sun and Jin episode, we got a Hurley episode, and we got a Locke episode, and all of those were pretty solid in what they explored about those characters, whereas, like, there have been some other episodes where their main points just kind of sucked.
Yeah. So I hope you'll join us next time for episode... So I hope you'll join us next time for episode 40, November 1st, and episode 41, November 2nd to 3rd.